Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Howdy, all y'all. Just another wonderful day here in Paradise in the Houston, Texas area. My name is red.olaughlin. We're on Talking Heads today on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And we've been changed the direction of the show a little bit over the last several weeks. Doing a segment, not a segment, I'm doing a series of one-day broadcasts basically called What Would I Do? And I kind of share my insights into, well, here's the problem. Is there a way of fixing it? Is there a way of ameliorating it? What can I do? So I'm taking my definition of what the situation is and trying to help the reader, the user, the video, my audience make better decisions. Either take the information to their doctor, and as always, if you're going to make a change in your life, definitely talk to your doctor first. So with that being said, here on Talking Heads, let me get my slide program lined up real quick. Okay, we're on Amazon Fire, Zizzle TV, E360 TV, YouTube, Roku TV, Android TV, so many different ones. Plus, we also have a series of, all of these are all live streaming, but we also have a series of podcasts that follow it pretty rapidly after everything is done. But if you're missing an episode, you want to go back and catch something, go to YouTube and then just type in the USA Global TV, and there's a couple of sites there that you can pick you up and go to the archives and pick anything out of there that you want. So that being said, a little bit about me, health awareness disclaimer. I'm a researcher, not a medical or pharmaceutical expert, never been in those businesses or those industries. My first degree is chemistry. I got five different academic degrees, all different subjects, 7 professional certifications, a couple overlapping. Retired Navy captain, a little over 31 years, been to 61 countries in the world. I specialize in cause and effect relationships. I believe if you treat the cause of a problem, you'll probably have better success than treating the symptoms, because the symptoms are the result of that cause, and the cause is still going on even if you're treating the symptoms. So things may get better because you're not seeing the symptoms, but the cause is still there. Been married 56 years, a couple of kids, 3 grandkids, and 1 great-grandson who I had the pleasure of being with all day yesterday at Christmas, and he'll be 1 year old next month. I'm a best-selling author, 8 books, independent publisher, distinguished Toastmaster, a writer. I have over 1,000 original content articles on LinkedIn. And as always, this information that I'm doing today is for awareness and education. So that being said, shouldn't be saying that being said. I need to work on that one. My personal health accountability chart that we started about 2 months ago. My weight hasn't gone anywhere. Started at 195. I'm up a couple, but I've been to 7 different Christmas parties, and I'm encouraged because I haven't gone way out of whack. But it's also one of those things that as I'm eating something, I think there's something in my brain that says, slow down just a little bit, and I have. And again, almost nothing has changed, very incrementally up, not really down in most cases, but it's one of those ones that it's going to change, and it will change here in the next couple, 3 weeks. So with that being said, I need to work on that one. Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline. Okay. My Joy of Ageless Health book is a good resource for the kinds of things that we're talking about today. We talk about education awareness. Awareness is essentially, I'm informed of something. It's going to rain today. I'm informed. If I wanted to know more, I may go to the meteorologist and have him talk about the MJO, the Madden-Julian oscillation, and understand why we're in phase 3. And my education allows me to understand why we're going to have the weather we're having today. So the education is a deeper understanding of that topic. Now, with people just watching my shows, they're probably aware of a couple terms: autophagy and AGEs, advanced glycation end products. But the awareness stops there. Unless you really want to do something to improve your life by addressing autophagy or AGEs, that becomes an educational opportunity. But for most of us, our education is diet, exercise, sleep, stress management. That's all we hear about. How to take care of your health. And to a large degree, if you're doing a lot of the right things, it's true. It really is. But our health is a total package. It's more than just our physical well-being. It's more than just the absence of disease. It's a combination of our mental health, our physical health, spiritual, social, relationships, and to some degree financial as to what you can do. But there's a lot of different segments of health. And we need to look at health from an awareness perspective. Okay, it's nice to know. An education perspective. Now I know what I can do. And then an action perspective. We have to do something to effective change. And change is difficult. Well, it's not super difficult because some of us want new clothes, new watches, new iPhones or phones, new cars, new homes. There's a lot of things we want that's change, but it's not necessarily something that's easy to do. Some are easier than others. So I think most of us would agree that for our health, our goals for life are: I want to prevent disease. If I can avoid a disease, why not? I want to live longer? Yeah, with the caveat, I want to be able to do what I'm doing earlier in life in my later life. I definitely want to feel better, and I definitely want to enjoy life. My perspective is I don't want somebody changing my diaper for the last 5 or 10 years of my life. I want to be able to do the things that I was doing 25 years ago now. Not happening, but that's my goal. Aging, just everyday living, creates health changes. It's something we go through. If you look at pictures of you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you can see, whoa. You look at somebody on TV, you haven't seen that actor or actress for a while. Whoa, they've aged a lot. It's something that we can see, but we don't see it as we're going through it as much. And the goal basically is that we have to maintain and improve what we have without even knowing we're changing. That's kind of tough to do. We know we shouldn't do this. We know we shouldn't do something else. So knowing isn't always the solution. And then you come down to the why. Why do we want to change? Well, there's so many change experts out there that it's kind of hard to say who's right. I think one of the more well-known ones is Tony Robbins, and his essential focus is on if pain is greater to not do something versus do something, then you're going to opt out for the greater pain. And so you have to assess, is it harder for me not to drink an extra glass of wine, or is it harder for me not to have any wine at all, which has greater pain? Is it harder for me not to have any dessert versus, let me go back for seconds. We have to assess but we don't look at pain in that same regard. It's a convenience. I like Dr. Morris Massey. I've followed him since the mid-'70s. He's available on a lot of YouTubes, well worth the time. He coined a term, SEE, significant emotional event. And this significant emotional event is based on his original, back then there were CDs, DVDs, CDs. You Are What You Are When, just an audio recording. But he says that our past experiences, and he looked at people in their 20s who were born in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, et cetera, because that's again 50 years ago. and pointed out that early on, it took 10 years to change. And then as you started getting into the 60s, you were changing once or twice within a decade, and you could easily see it in the kids. Somebody born in 1980 versus somebody born in 1985 versus somebody born in 1989. They had their own personalities and their choices were different. But he said that if something emotionally arresting happened, then you would actually consider, examine, and maybe I might possibly want to change. What are these things? Well, the standard ones are birth, death is a big one, marriage, divorce, you get fired, change jobs, graduate, you're in an accident, you survive a particularly rough disease. There are things that stop our brains and say, I don't want to do that again. And that is where a change mechanism happens, that our brain is going to support the rest of us in making that change. Again, Dr. Morris Massey, really think he's a fantastic guy in assessing psychologically how do we make change in our lives. Oh, health changes without us knowing it. You know, you graduate from high school, probably late teens, and the world is out there. Do I go to college? Do I go to work? Do I join the military? Do I join my parents' business? Lots of choices. It doesn't matter what those choices are. I could go in the military. I could do something else over here. My body is going to be affected one way, shape, or form because I'm aging. Some of the things that start in the 20s that we'll never catch on to is immune disorders. However, there are times when immune disorders start to manifest in your 20s, and we don't recognize them for what they are. But a lot of chronic conditions start in our 20s, but it takes 10, 20, 30, 40 years for something to develop. Maybe a melanoma might take 40 years to develop. It's there, we're looking at it, but we don't do anything about it. Or, I'm kind of out of breath all the time, but it's not stopping me from doing what I want to do. Well, why are you out of breath? A lot of chronic conditions start in our 20s and we just ignore them. Some of the things that we should not ignore in our 20s, sleeplessness, a little bit of depression, anxiety, and those could be related to food and vitamin deficiencies, mineral deficiencies, but it's not something that's normal. But mental health is a major part of our lifestyle. We do things for better health, but we don't really pay a good close attention to the mental health aspect of things. Obesity, some people have a starter kit and they're already going on that. Cancers take 40, 50 years to manifest. If you knew what you were looking for, you'd never find it, even though it's there. Cardiovascular disease, a lot of things are there that are starting, and we don't have the ability to really identify what those things are. But now I get into my 30s. And this is the first time that you can actually start to see a decline in your health. Whether it's 30, 35, 40, it's at some point in time in your 30s, you're typically going to feel a little bit more tired. You're going to value your sleeping a lot more than you ever had before. You're going to have some level of metabolic slowness. And that's going to be seen, well, it's a little bit harder to lose those extra 5 pounds. Things just aren't working the same way they were before. I can't get to sleep as easy. I wake up, I'm tired. A lot of metabolic things are happening. It's just happening at a slower rate, so we're not noticing it. It's just something that's just a little tired, fatigue, did too much yesterday. We're having muscle loss, but we're not seeing it. We might be able to see it if we're measuring strength and endurance, but we're losing a little bit. Our skin's starting to become a problem. Maybe losing a little bit of elasticity, but it's not there yet, but it's beginning. Hormones, again, if we're not in balanced nutrition all the time, a lot of issues are beginning in our 30s with hormones. Bone density, if you're living in an environment, and if you're keeping your body in an environment where it's acidic all the time, below 7.0 on the pH scale, your body eventually is going to leach calcium from the bones to maintain proper pH of your bloodstream, which is 7.4 plus or minus a little bit. So you really need to be concentrating on an alkaline environment in your body in order not to lose bone density. But again, we don't know about that because we're not aware of it. It's going to happen somewhere down the road. You're going to get a bone density test and you say, whoa, I didn't know that. And now they're going to try to give you all sorts of things to fix it. And it's not difficult to fix, but we really should start earlier than our 60s or 70s. Our skin's changing in our, I already talked about that. Dementia may see some very early signs, but most cases not. Cancer, again, you may have something going in there, maybe the size of a pinhead or something bigger. Can't find it even if you're looking for it. But things are developing. Cardiovascular disease, plaque is adding up, hypertension starting, a lot of things in our 30s. 40s, again, more hormonal shifts, probably more related to our diet and our nutrition, but a lot of it is actually programmed aging because these hormones are not produced as much as they were before. Well, if I know which ones they are or the precursors, I might be able to give them a boost. You can see facial changes, real aging starts then. A lot more noticeable muscle loss, but most of us need reading glasses. Our mental acuity starts to become in question. Where did I leave that? I can't think of that word. Our joints, weight management, very difficult. May or may not start having urinary issues. A lot of metabolic changes inside, a lot dealing with your digestive ability. So we get into our 50s. Now again, our muscles, our bones, menopause, things are happening all around us. And we can see our muscles. We may be able to feel the aspects of menopause, but we probably don't feel a thing with our bones. But it's happening. Our bones used to be very, very strong. They're not brittle. They're not in extremis, but they're working their way there. Our vision issues, if we haven't gotten glasses, we're probably in an area where I need reading glasses to read. I might need a long distance glasses to drive. Our hearing is really starting to become an impact, especially if you were in military, you're in some industry that had a lot of noise with it. If you were in your teenage years and you had something blasting out all the time, hearing is really going to become a problem in your 50s. That's where you're hearing. I just hear a lot of thunder outside right now, still booming. And again, those metabolic changes, and a lot of that has to do with our digestive ability. It's just not what it used to be. We start seeing in our 50s some of those chronic conditions we talked about back in our 20s. They may be an autoimmune disease that's manifesting. It may be something as early as cancer, COPD, a lot of things that become chronic because we never addressed them. Okay, we are here for awareness. If you're in your 30s or 40s, or you have somebody in your family, these are things that we ought to start paying attention to and begin some process of improving. We have an increase of risk of everything that's not good for us. Hypertension is pretty much not with most people, but it's knocking on the door of everyone. Depression, well, part of that's the fact that if you're in your 50s, your parents are probably in their 70s or 80s, if they're still alive. A lot of issues with them that you're worrying. Your kids are out of the house. You're having more time now to yourself. You're starting to see things. I don't want that. And how do I go about making those changes? So 50s is one of those delicate time frames. Let's talk about the 60s. Very definitely a lot of physical changes happening in our 60s. Our strength starts to wane significantly. Balance can become an issue. We usually might just catch ourselves a little bit. You lift up a little vertigo, a little dizziness, reach out for something. Not a big deal, but it's one of those things, awareness. If you're starting to see that, maybe I need to start working on my balance now. It's not a difficult thing to do. A lot of YouTube videos. If anybody's out here, pick any of these topics, go to YouTube. But if you're really serious about making a change, again, talk to your doctor before you do it. Our endurance. Okay, maybe in my 50s, I could run a half marathon. My 60s, I may not be able to run 5 miles. Our endurance wanes, especially on a lot of things. Our muscle mass really starts to lose. We start seeing a little chicken wings and things like that under our arms. A lot of things occurring. Flexibility, joint pain may start to be a major problem. Weight management is always going to be a problem for those in their 60s and older. Just can't get rid of those extra 4, 5, or 6 inches around their waist. Cardiovascular increases, A lot of more plaque is being put into our blood stream and arteries, blood stream, arteries, and heart valves. You know, I think of it. Our vision, hearing, obesity is probably pretty set in our life by then. Diabetes is a major issue. A lot of problems with cognitive decline start to show up in our 60s. Memory loss, complexity issues. We can't do what we used to do. Where did I put my keys at? Don't remember that being over there. A lot of things, we process things slower. Some people you're starting to see early onset Alzheimer's, and we kind of notice it in other people, but we don't notice it in ourselves. We should have the awareness, but our action is lacking. We just attribute it to aging. I'm getting older, that's what's going on. When in reality, it probably is something that's happening that you should have some level of being able to address. 70s, you start noticing, people coming around, they have large skin bruises, hematomas. Our ability to sweat declines, our skin is changing. A lot more bone issues, a lot more susceptibility to falls, to breaking something. A lot more people having sleep issues for whatever reason. A lot of it's stress, but could be digestive, could be a number of things. Starting to see a lot more urinary issues pop up, vision, hearing. By now, third to almost a half of the United States is having problems with hearing. And again, if it's not a big deal, what'd you say? And then you just kind of buy it up. It's aging. Cardiovascular disease, we're seeing a lot more fatigue. You can't do what you do going up a set of stairs. You just got to sit down and rest. A lot of hypertension. Dementia is starting to be part of a lot of lives and people in their 70s. Got to really be super careful for falls. Ulcers may be present. Our body's getting old. We just have an old body. 80s, again, bone issues, muscle issues, cardiovascular should be disease, CVD, hypertension, COPD, osteoarthritis, conjunctive. Let's see, what is a COPD? Pulmonary disorder. I can't think of it right this second. Moving right along. Prostate issues, cancer risk super increased. Even if you had it early in your life, chances are this is a time that it can come back again. Hearing loss, difficulty living alone, dementia, depression. Coordination becomes a major problem. Just some things you can't do that you used to do. Aging is normal. It's something we see all the time. We can affect significant change, and it's always easier if we start earlier than later. And even when we're older, the changes can occur. It's just going to take a little longer time to make them occur. So first thing is awareness. What's happening? If I'm 50 and I looked at this thing, can I really sit down and figure out, is this aging, or is this a joint issue, or is this the start of some disease? What is there? And the second part is taking whatever action's needed. If I have a cardiovascular disease, maybe I need to go see somebody. If I haven't had a physical in a while, maybe that's the appropriate action you need to take. Get a physical. So we look at our lifestyle, our diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, and a few others. And we assess what has changed in our life. If nothing's changed, that's a clue. What do you change? Well, that's even more important than what has changed. Our immune system is probably one of the first things we need to look at. YouTube, how do I improve my immune system? Our exercise program, we're not out there to run a half marathon anymore, but walking is certainly a possibility for most of us. Our diet, what really and truly hurts us, give it up. Keep the rest for a while. We need to be aware of our bone density. Caloric restriction, just cut back on the calories. Doesn't have to be a whole lot, but just cut back on the calories. Balanced nutrition is probably one of the absolute best things that if you can do is going to help you in your 50s, 60s, 70s. Quality sleep is difficult to attain when you get older, but again, maybe stress management is one of those things that you need in order to de-stress and get to sleep comfortably. Cardiovascular health, a lot of it's associated with expectations. If my grandfather died at 55 of a heart attack and my dad died at 52 of a heart attack, my expectations, I'm not going to make 60. We need to concentrate our expectations on the healthy aspects of living, not on what happened to somebody else that might affect us. We are our own individual human body, and we have our own needs, and the expectation should always be on the positive side of things. I talked about the annual assessments, but if I were looking at two things and I'm in my 70s, late 70s, what should I really and truly be concentrating on? One is my mitochondrial and my cells. I want to give a lot of attention to that to keep it healthy, and I want to reduce visceral fat. Those are the two main things. So diet, exercise, go to YouTube, type in visceral fat, and follow the experts. Some of them are super simple, just adding a couple things to your diet. Supplements, stress management, a lot of those things are all interrelated. My mitochondrial health, again, diet, exercise, stress, sleep, all those things help. But again, I looked there this morning, there's dozens of things on mitochondrial health, some that are super simple, some that are a little bit more involved, but when it all boils down to everything that we're doing, it's our gut. What is our microbiome? If I need a good gut for digestion, then I need to eliminate toxins, which means I need to read labels. I need to be aware of what I'm eating. And again, YouTube is an excellent source for that. So skip that one. My name again is Red O'Laughlin. My website is red.olaughlin.com. That's REDOLAUGHLIN, REDOLAUGHLIN.com. And I can be reached at red@redo'laughlin.com or red.olaughlin@gmail.com. And my books are available through my website or on Amazon. So that being said, I wish you all the best here for the remainder of 2024, and I look forward to seeing you in 2025. Bye now, y'all.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, master the art of listening with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacqueline.thinkific.com. Join Dr. Kerbeck's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations.